Hello, everybody. It's Wendy. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here today. I have a really fun card to show you, and it was a labor of love, and I ended up making 3 different cards. So I'm excited to get started and show you this. So my first card I used, and actually for all of these cards, I used Melon Mambo, Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, and Bermuda Bay to do my ink blending. What you want to do is grab sponges, and I use a sponge for each different color, and that's really the only way this works. And I've really sped up this video because ink blending is a slow process, and I've just learned that. So here's my tip for you for beautiful ink blending. The deal is, every time I would do ink blending, it would come out kind of uneven or a little bit splotchy even. And it really bothered me, and I could not figure out how to get a really nice even ink blend. I would see all these other people do ink blending, and it was always gorgeous, and I thought maybe it's because I don't have that little wood tool that has the little sponges at the end of it. I believe Tim Holtz has that tool. It's I don't know, it's an ink blending tool. Anyway, I don't have that tool. I have these little sponges. So I thought, well, maybe that's what it is. It turns out that's not what it is. You can sponge your ink on just as beautifully, and I'm going to prove that to you today. So the deal is this. I love Laura Basson, and she is a YouTuber, and she does really great cards, and I love her tutorials. And I was watching one the other day, and she says this in every video, but I've just never zoned in on it. She does tons of ink blending. It's like her favorite technique in the whole world. So I was watching one of her videos the other day, and I thought, how does she get her ink so smooth? It's always so smooth and perfect, and it looks like everything flows perfectly together. Here's the trick. This is what she revealed, and I thought, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try it the way she says, and lo and behold, it worked. Imagine that. It worked from an expert telling me. It is the amount of pressure you apply to the sponge. So the key to fantastic ink blending that gets you this beautiful, soft, transitioning ink that blends very nicely is that you have to do it with a really light touch. And then you just have to be willing to keep going back over it like you're seeing me do here. And as you can see, as I'm going, the blending is just becoming more and more beautiful. Now, if I were to keep going, it would even be that much prettier. But look at this. It's gorgeous. There's no spotting. It's not modeling. It's perfect. And it really is the touch. You have to use the sponge very lightly, and you have to dab off your excess ink on a piece of paper or something prior to starting your blending. So it worked beautifully, and I could have just kept doing it because it was so pretty, but I didn't because I wanted to get the card made. So that's a little tip via Laura Basson through me, and I can attest that it actually works. She was right. It's all in the touch, baby, the touch. So now I am cutting the a floral framelit out here. The name of it is escaping me, which it shouldn't be because the amount that I messed with this dang thing could make anybody want to cuss. So here's the deal. This is a very intricate die. If you don't have the precision plate, it's going to make you nuts. So I had the precision plate. I used it. I cut out the die. And then I am laying this down on a piece of black cardstock, and then I'm going to trim down around it. Now, just for you, because I love you so much, I cut out literally probably an hour's worth of footage because I made mistake after mistake after mistake with this hot mess. I'm telling you, people, these cards that I'm showing you today were a labor of true love because I was determined to make these cards work the way I wanted them to. This one wasn't even my biggest pain in my butt. You'll see. We're getting to that. So I'm using an old time Creative Memories trimmer here. I found this trimmer in my little stash. I was going through some stuff, and I had forgotten all about this trimmer, and I thought, this is a perfect size trimmer for videos. So I grabbed it out of my stash, and it's perfect for cutting stuff down long as it's small. So the trimmer is really small. You can't even get these anymore. In fact, I think Creative Memories went under, and then they started another company, and now it's just online or something. I don't know. But anyway, if you find one of those trimmers on eBay or somewhere like that, grab it. Okay, so now we're going to go to the hard part. We are doing partial die cutting to make a slit in order to put a gift card inside. Okay? So what we're going to do here is I'm measuring out how wide my gift card is, and I'm putting a post-it note on each side of where the gift card would be. So you see I'm moving this one back out a little bit because we only want to die cut in between the post-its. You're going to say, how would we do that? I'm going to show you. Move your bottom clear plate out. Line the bottom clear plate up with the top, with the note, the sticky note to the right. Slide the top plate in and line it up with the sticky note on the left. So now you can see the bottom clear plate is lined up with the sticky note on the right there, and the top plate is lined up with the one on the left. So this is only going to apply pressure on the very center of that die cut, and it's only going to cut a slit right there. I know your mind is blown right now, because when I saw Yana do this for the first time in a class I took, I about died. I was like, she is the most amazing person I've ever seen. Look at this. There it is. There's our slit. So before I took it all apart, ask me how I learned this. I tried to fit my card in there because I wanted to know if it would fit. It didn't fit. So that means you got to slip it back into the Dealy Bob Big Shot, and you got to move your clear plates just a smidgen. Just a smidgen. That's a very scientific term, in order to make your cut a little bit wider. So all I did is I moved that clear plate over a little bit on top, ran it through my Big Shot 3 times just to make sure it was cutting through both cardstocks, and pulled it out, and then I'm going to test it again. And voila, my card fits. Now, let me tell you what happened. This is what happened. At the end of this video, all of a sudden, my camera shut off. It was awful. It just shut off. And it was because it was full of memory, because I had so much recorded on here that it couldn't take anymore. So all you're getting to see here is the finished product. What I did is I just put adhesives on the back to keep the die cut or the gift card from falling down inside. And that's it. All right, so here's the next card that I made. And you're getting a lot of extras here today, because this was I just kept the footage going. I just kept the video rolling. So you see how gorgeous this is. We're using the positive space from this die cut. So I ink blended another sheet, and no 2 sheets are exactly alike because it's ink blending. So I really love this one, got a lot of green in it. And so I'm lining it up here in my Big Shot with my precision plate, because that's the only way you can cut this die cut. I'm telling you, precision plate all the way. Otherwise, it'll make you lose your mind. You're going to line up your dies again. And this time I was smart and kind of paid attention to the edges to make sure they were kind of even. And then you're going to cut them out on your Big Shot. All right, so we're going to run this through the Big Shot and cut out all the pieces. Now, I'm going to tell you, I tried this every which way but Sunday to get this right. I messed with this until I was a lunatic when I was making this video, because the first time I made this, I put stick-it adhesive on the back of this ink blended piece before I ran it through, because I thought, oh, that'll make it easier to do this technique because I'll just be able to peel the stick-it off. No, that did not work. Don't do that. So I grabbed out my, what you call that paper. It's that stuff. Jennifer McGuire's husband invented it. cling wrap. It's not cling wrap. What is this stuff called? I don't know. I think it is cling wrap. So you push it down, okay? And then you'll see I start to try to pull it up, or I might show it. Yep, see? I tried to pull it up. I realized, okay, it's not strong enough to pull the little pieces out of the die, which is really what I wanted it to do. It wasn't strong enough to do that. So instead, I used this little pokey tool that's actually a seam ripper, but it was what was next to me. And I poked all these little intricate die pieces through the die onto the cling wrap paper because I'm crazy. This is what's happening. This is, at this point, what you're seeing is a lunatic at work, because I could not stop obsessing over making this card that I had in my head. I just knew if I could figure out how to do it, it'd work. Okay? So I go through and I poke and I poke and I poke and I get it all poked out. And now I've got everything attached to that piece of cling wrap paper. So I decide a good idea would be to trim all this excess cling wrap off. Now, the part you didn't see is that I stuck another piece of cling wrap over the top of the first piece. So I've got it sandwiched. I have the die sandwiched in between two sheets of cling wrap. And I really quickly realized I needed to remove this excess paper because it was making me crazy. All right. So then what I started to do, I started to try to peel this apart. And I was hoping that all the little intricate teensy tiny pieces were going to come up with the top piece of cling wrap. That's what I was aiming for. That's what I was hoping for. I wanted everything to just magically peel up and be easy on me at this point, because I'd already thrown away one mess that didn't work. And I was losing it here, folks. So I started peeling this up and realized, nope, not going to work. Not going to work. It's not just going to be easy. So then I thought, you know what? What if we put the pressure on the other side? So what if I pushed from the back to the front? Would that then cause the pieces to stick to the front of the cling wrap? And I feel like that's not the right word for this stuff. What is this stuff? You guys know what it is. Anyway, so I start peeling and nope, it's not sticking. You see that? It's sticking to the back. So here's what I decided to do. I knew there had to be a way to fix this and do this correctly, because it was making me nuts. So I decided I'm going to push from the back to the front to try to get all of these pieces to stick. So I started pushing from the back and I started peeling the back piece away. So it's like whichever piece you peel away is where everything stays, if that makes sense. So I was able to peel this back piece off with no problem because it was the piece I was peeling away. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm trying to make it make sense. So then I did this process. Now, I'm telling you, you're going to have the patience of Job if you want to do this. But I was so invested at this point that I was not giving up. This just became like, I don't know what you even call it. It just became a thing, and I couldn't give up on this idea. So I kept going. So now I'm pushing every little intricate die cut piece through the die cut onto the front of this paper, the sticky paper that you get at the grocery store. So it's coming off. It was a slow going process because I had to poke every single little one down and make it stick to the paper, the cling paper. All right, so I'm going at it here and I'm just trying to carefully peel away this negative space of the die cut because I do want to still be able to use that in another card. Why waste it, right? But I'm recognizing that I'm really having to bend it a lot and finagle it quite a bit. So I did get concerned I wouldn't be able to use it. But, you know, it came out okay. So now look here. This is exactly what I wanted to have happen. And I could have cried and jumped up and down, y'all, when this finally came out. Look how beautiful this is. It's all those little intricate die cut pieces. And they are now stuck to this paper. So now my job is to get them off of the paper and onto the card. So here's how we're going to do it. Now, I bet there's an easier way. In fact, I bet spray adhesive would work well, although I would be concerned spray adhesive might cause the cling wrap paper to stick to the card base as well. So anyhow, we're going to cut this piece of black cardstock down to 4 by 5 1/4. And look, this is going to go on top of here. And it is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So I decided what we're going to do is use Tombow mono adhesive because it's a glue. So I can just squirt little teeny bits out. But it's very strong. It has a very strong adhering matter. I don't know what that word is. It can stick good, y'all. It sticks good. So I started putting it on, and I realized fairly quickly that because there's so many little intricate pieces that I couldn't possibly put glue on all of this and apply it. I would have to do it in chunks because otherwise the glue that I started with at the beginning of it would dry before I got the glue pieces to the back. So look at this as this comes off. So I'm gluing it down. It's sticking beautifully, and I'm super slow. It's very, very slowly peeling away the paper. And look, I got a little bit of piece here, and I'm just going to weasel that off with my scissors and just keep on trucking. So you got to go slow with this. You have to go really slow because two things are going to happen. First of all, it peeled some of my ink off of my paper, which really made me madder than a cat hair. I wanted to squeal when I saw that. But I thought, it's okay, it's on black cardstock, so I can probably just ink blend right back over the top of it, which is what I ended up doing afterwards to freshen up some of that color that got peeled away by the paper, the cling wrap paper. So I'm just fixing up the little pieces here that kind of pulled away or didn't stick. Then I cut these two apart because I decided I wanted to make kind of a cool shape with them. And that's what would be really fun about this. If you did this and wanted to make a bunch of different shapes, you could do a circle, you could, put it however you wanted all over this card base. So I have this other little corner piece here that would generally go right down flat underneath, but I went ahead and I moved it so it would be kind of going up and around. And at the end, this card actually ended up looking like a big letter Z, like zebra, Z. But obviously I didn't use it for anything like a letter Z. I just made up my own design. But it was really cool how it came out. So I'm just applying those down, and then I did the bottom. So this is where we end up, is with all of these beautiful little teensy tiny die cut pieces all over this black cardstock, and I think it's breathtakingly gorgeous. So my idea finally worked. It took forever. Look, that looks like a number 7 almost. So like I said, it was a huge, 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 huge labor of love. And that's all it was. It's just a labor of love. And sometimes crafting calls for that. So I got it all stuck down. I thought it turned out beautiful. I got my paper all peeled off the back here, or the front, I should say. And then to finish out the card, I'm going to layer it onto a card base. And I ended up adding the little hello sentiment to it, which you saw in the picture. You'll see it again here in a minute. And I loved how it turned out. and my camera quit again. So that's why you don't see me adhering all that together. Okay, so then we have this card. This card was from that other leftover piece, and I put it together, and I just love how it turned out. It's beautiful. It's a shaker. All right, if you want to see more videos from me, you can click on either one of these images. I promise that they're not all this long. And if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd appreciate it. You can click on my little round face, and you'll be subscribed. Thanks for hanging out. All the supplies are listed in the link below. Bye-bye.